Okay, today I am speaking with the one and only Yechiel Giniger. Before we interview him, we're going to play one of his songs. Hold on. Okay, because he doesn't have a lot of time, we're going to stop there and we're going to jump right in. Um, did I mention I am interviewing the one and only Yechiel Giniger, or I just said Yechiel Giniger?
I think you said it.
Good. Um, good, good afternoon. I usually interview in the morning, but it didn't happen. Um, where do where do you grow up and where do you live now?
Okay, so first of all, I want to say I'm very honored to be on this podcast. I'm very excited to be here. Okay, so first question you said was where did I grow up?
Yeah.
I live in Brooklyn. That's where I grew up. Yeah,
Where do you live now?
I'm still living in Brooklyn. I'm still at home.
Oh, hmm.
I'm in first year base medrash and I'm in Darche now.
Hold on.
Rockaway.
If you we never got there yet.
Okay,
You're going too fast. Um, where do you go for elementary school and for high school?
so for elementary school, I went to Yeshiva Tfaras El Malach in Borough Park.
Huh?
I was there through ninth grade. And then after ninth grade, I went to Tells in Cleveland, and I was there for a little bit over 2 years. And then I went back to Brooklyn and went to Yeshiva Mol Basin, Rabbi Brick's Yeshiva, for 6 months. And then after that, I went to Darche after Pesach in 12th grade, and that's where I still am now. And now I'm in Beis Medrash.
Um, you're still in. Where did you go to base Medrash or college?
So now I'm still in Beis Medrash, and I'm in Yeshiva Darche Torah in Far Rockaway.
You know, I was in Dache.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that. Okay, that's beautiful.
Well, yeah, Rabbi Bender, Rabbi Dax.
For sure.
Is Rabbi Trink still the Menah?
He still is. Still the now of the Mesifta.
That's, oh yeah, he got rid of the fish tank.
He got rid of the what?
Fish tank.
Oh, I didn't know there was a fish tank, but I guess he got rid of it. There still is a fish tank in the elementary.
No, for phones. It
Oh,
called first thing for phones.
cool.
Um, you're not done with Medbridge yet, right?
Nah, I'm still in base medrash.
Okay, we will skip that one. Um, at what age did you start singing?
So that's a very good question because it's a very hard question to answer, actually, because I grew up in a family where music was very much a part of, you know, the way I grew up. My mother is a music teacher, and
Oh,
even my father now he works in his line of work a lot of times has music involved. And, when opportunities came, I was always, taking the opportunities to sing. It wasn't even so much like something I had to go into, it was just a little bit fed to me, if you were to say it like that. And if I had to say my first experience in music, it might have been when I was 2 years old. And I would go up already with my mother when she was on stage singing, and I would sometimes join her when I was 2, 3 years old. And also when my father does Shabbatons, and he coordinates different events. And a lot of times when he would do different Shabbatons, so I would get up there and sing. If there was a choir, if there was a singer, I would get up there and sing with them. So it was something that I was a little bit, born into. And also my mother was constantly teaching me. So I was able to train from when I was very, very young. Baruch Hashem.
congratulations. Um, how many albums do you have out now?
That's a good question. Let's check. Um, when you say albums, I'm assuming you mean also songs. I don't have any full albums yet.
Oh, no full albums?
No full albums yet. But
Okay.
as Hashem soon.
We're going to get to the songs later, but
Oh, okay.
um,
I've been featured on albums though, on other albums.
oh really? Like what?
Like Baruch Levine put out an album Peduscha.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I sang on the song Aneni when I was much younger, when I was in fifth grade.
Oh,
That was that
um,
that was the first recording I was ever part of.
I am trying to get Baruch Levine on here. He is like the best, one of
I
the
also love
best.
Baruch Levine. I love Baruch
What?
Levine. I love Baruch Levine.
Yeah.
He's great.
Yeah. May I ask, um, what is your favorite song of all your singles? Yeah.
That's a very hard question to answer because each song, when I put it out, it means that I have a real connection to it. I wouldn't put something out. I composed a lot of songs, Baruch Hashem, and I've only put something out if I felt a certain uniqueness and a certain connection to the song. So, which song do I have most connection to? It's really hard to say. I guess I'll go with your choice. Nachmu Ami was something that came at the inspiration for the song was I was hearing a lot of, in the previous Nachmu season, like
Yeah.
Tisha B'Av, after Tisha B'Av, a lot of people were singing songs with the words Nachmu Ami that was more morbid and, sounded sad, which I didn't get the same feeling from Nachmu Ami. Nachmu Ami was something that, to my ears and to myself, felt something more uplifting and happy and a reason to dance. The concept of Nachmu Ami, especially, I looked at the Mefarshim, where it elaborates on the fact that even in Galus we have a certain nechama because we understand that there's going to be an end to the Galus, and we understand that even through this exile, we dance through it because we have an understanding that there's going to be, that one day we're going to have the Gula. So that was my inspiration to write the song Nachmu Ami in a dancing and vibing on the words Nachmu Ami. People said it was like repetitive Nachamu Ami, like the high part Nachamu Nachamu.
Yeah.
But my idea and the reason I did it that way, and was because I just was vibing on Nachamu Nachamu Nachamu. It was like a vibe that I had to put it into a tune.
Who did you sing with? In the picture, it showed three people.
That's a good question. So actually, last minute, I had the vision of what I wanted to do for an album cover, and most of my album covers, I have a certain vision of the way I want to do it, and I try to
Yeah.
execute it as best as I can. And this was the vision that you see is the vision I had, and I wanted it to be three people dancing. And if you see one side is desert, and the other side is what's it called? It slowly fades into the same scenery, just blooming and
Yeah.
resembling dancing from Gullus to Geula in one dance, and people dancing around. That was the vision. Lamaisa, I only had one day to work this whole thing out, and I didn't have any other people, so I took three pictures of myself in a different
Oh,
what's it called, in a different position, and I had the editor crop it in as if it's three different people dancing, but all three people are me.
oh.
Yeah, so that's that.
Okay. Um, what do you do when you're not performing?
And what do I do when I'm not performing? So, I mean, it's really the other way around. My full time, quote unquote, my full time business is learning. I'm still in yeshiva, and when I'm not learning, I do anything in music. Either I'm doing gigs, or I'm making music, or I'm composing music, or reaching out to singers to try to sell music, things like that. So, you know, the answer is learning, I guess, or the other way
Hold,
around.
may I ask how much does a song cost? What do you mean by selling a song?
How much does a song cost? Okay, so that's a very interesting question because it depends on a lot of factors. First of all, each song might, take certain, different amount of time or different amount of effort to make. For example, an English song, you have to sit a long time on the words and the poetry, and I have a certain standard that I tried to build to make sure that it's very solid, my English songs. And sometimes I would spend hours to actually come up with the right lyrics. Sometimes things just pop in and you just make the song, and sometimes it's much more of a process. So in general, with English songs, it's going to be a little bit more. With simple, fast, just Nachamuami style songs, a lot of times it's just, I have the words in front of me. I'm not using too much else. The chords are relatively simple. I always like putting a twist to the chords, but the chords are relatively simple. So those will be a little bit less, I guess. I just did a song with Yosef Kugler that would have went for less because that was a song that was just words from davening, and I worked out a nice tune and I made a demo. The demo, I didn't pay so much to get the demo made, and it was relatively simple.
Oh, oh, you charge for the work and for the anyone can just sit down and write a song.
Technically speaking, yeah. There's obviously, the more theory you know about music and the more experience you have in music, the more you're able to execute a composition with
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, who did you get inspired by to start singing?
Who did I get inspired by? So in a way, I've answered that question already because it's something I was born into, and it was like almost obvious that I should
Your
just
mother.
that it was yeah, it was obvious that I should go into music because it was just something I was brought into. I had the resources. The studio I'm in now is my mother's studio, but I use it whenever I need
Oh,
to. Yeah, and just Baruch Hashem, I was put into a family, and that I have a lot of I have the name of my mother and my brothers who were in music before for me to build on, and it was a very easy, going into the industry was very easy.
I remember seeing a song with Zevi and
David
someone
Perlman,
else. What?
David Perlman, or maybe Yosef Zaidel,
No,
Waterbury.
two two names with Giniger. Do you have?
Oh, yeah, that was maybe you're referring to Rachem.
Yeah.
So Rachem, I released. It was my first song I released myself, and I featured both my brothers.
Oh,
Yeah.
your brother sing?
Um, so yeah, two of my brothers did a lot of music. One of them was in was the main actor in Desperate Measures in the video Desperate Measures. I don't know if you heard of it. But
No.
there were three songs that he did with that with Baruch Perlowitz, who's the director of Desperate Measures, director of some of those films, and he did two songs for Desperate Measures, and then another song for the newest movie, The Youngest Partisan, and that was his, that he incorporated music into that, and then I featured him in Rachim, and that's his thing in music, and he does chuppahs here and there and stuff like that, and he's Zevi is more active in the music industry now. Also, he's trying to release some stuff. He's released some stuff. He did a collab with David Perlman. He did a collab with Yosef Seidel and Waterbury. The song "Only Love." Um, yeah,
Maybe you will send me the numbers.
for sure.
Okay. Um, are you coming out with a new song or album?
Um, the hope is always, to get to the point where I could put out an album. I definitely have the songs to release an album. There's a lot of other things involved, though. I'm not finished yeshiva yet, and I think I have to wait to the right for the right time to actually, jump into it and make the big investment to put out an album. But there's definitely, songs in the works. I just put out two songs in the last 2 weeks. Baruch Hashem.
What
Yeah.
what does yeshiva have to do with putting out a album?
So if you're putting money into putting out an album, then usually, you have to do it in a way where you're actually going to get back the money and it's actually worth an investment. If I'm in yeshiva and my focus is yeshiva, then, I don't want it to take up the energy of having to make back the money of an album or having to take, the amount of gigs to make back the money and things like that. So I want to wait till, I'm able to actually jump into music in the way that would allow me to take the amount of gigs to make back the money, and yeah, that's the cheshbon.
You don't want to say, I have a gig and I will learn later, or most people who want to do music full time say, I have a gig, I will learn later.
I don't know if that's entirely true. If somebody's trying to dedicate their, especially their learning years, which is, I'm still there.
Oh,
If somebody wants to dedicate their time to learning, it's very hard to put the full attention if you prioritize your music. So for me, my priority now is my learning. I don't think it ever won't be, learning family and stuff like that. Music is definitely part of me, and I would love to, be very involved. But at the same time, it's my learning and my family will always be a priority. And I think everybody really prioritizes that, whether, the pile or not. But the point is that
yeah.
definitely it's what I try to do. And if I were to put out an album, I don't think that would, at this point, that would, again, unless I have like a sponsor that's willing to drop, all that money to to help me put out an album. If anybody listening to this is interested, I'm definitely open to it. But
Yeah,
if I'm making such an investment, it has to be in a way where I could, make it back.
okay. Um, At what age did you start performing live in front of people?
Um, so again, I mentioned that, from when I was very young, I would join my mother on stage. I
Yeah.
also mentioned that my father does Shabbatons and does different events, and I would join him. Not join him. I would, he would put me up there either on during Shabbos, Matzah Shabbos, or things like that when there's different stuff. One particular event where it was more like I was there to sing and it was a whole official thing was in fifth grade, and it's actually how I got on Baruch Levine's album.
Oh,
Is Yad Eliezer made a dinner, and they had Baruch Levine compose the song Aneni, which is on the album Paduscha. He composed that song for Yad Eliezer, which supports Amanas and Yisaimim, and Aneni is the song about Amanas and Yisaimim. And I was the child soloist in fifth grade, so I sang
yeah.
by that event with Baruch Levine. Maybe that would be considered my first performance. Actually, I definitely did a lot of chuppahs since I was 6 years old. Also, when I was 6 years old, my piano teacher, which I learned piano since I was 4 years old, so my piano teacher got engaged, and she got married when I was 6 years old, and I sang with my two brothers by her chuppah. We were called the Giniger Trio then, and we used to do a lot of chuppahs the next couple of years.
Yeah.
You can't find anything on YouTube anymore because I think my parents took them down. But
Why?
I guess I guess they felt that the attention wasn't good for young kids. But
Now you are older and
maybe if we find them, we could put them back up. Has to be found though. I actually just found some videos. I actually just found some videos of the rehearsal. I could send you them. Yeah, we did rehearsal for those chuppahs, and we found videos of them. That was cute. If we could find the videos of the actual chuppah, that would also be nice. Um,
yeah.
but yeah, Baruch Shem. So I guess that might be considered, from the first times that I did that I performed live.
Okay. Who did you sing with and who did you perform with?
Um, so I mentioned Baruch Levine. The first that chuppah that I actually also mentioned, the first chuppah I did, um, part of the chuppah I think was with Benny Friedman.
Oh, you sing with Penny?
Yeah, that was that
Mm,
chuppah.
uh,
Um, and Baruch Hashem throughout, there's been times here and there where I did with other singers. I put out songs with other singers, performed. Comes to my head this past summer, I performed a little bit with Benny Friedman also. Um, that's what comes at the top of my head.
are you planning on putting out a music video?
So I put out a music video for Rachem. Um, that was a while ago. My next plan for putting out a music video, there's a possibility that I'm going to be working on a music video for the song "Come Back Home" that I sing on Avram Yaakov Safos's album. He's a
Oh,
producer, and he just put out an album 2 weeks ago. I sang a song "Come Back Home" on his album, and there's a possibility that we're going to do a music video for that. Um, yep.
okay. Um, where did you perform in your career?
Where did I perform what?
In your career when you do music? Where did you perform? Israel, London?
Um, I guess I can't remember performing anywhere too far from home. It's either upstate or Brooklyn or, Muncie, maybe Lakewood, just the basics. I never went too far to perform.
Oh, not yet?
I went to the Zone once to perform,
Oh,
which is also upstate. I haven't went too far.
not yet.
Not yet.
You were you're planning on going
As a Shem.
to Israel, London, all
Amen.
the yeah. Um, what kind of clientele do you service? Non-Jewish, Jewish, Orthodox?
I definitely welcome all people to listen to my content, but I guess the truth is that from the music I put out, I guess no one song sounds similar to the next, and I try
Who did
to.
you sing it for? Who did you
Talking about
perform?
live performing.
Yeah,
So live performing, I guess by the zone was mixed non from and from, and um, in other places, chuppahs. I don't know exactly. Each place a Hasidim sometimes Litvish. That's the idea.
okay. Um, let's see. Big, um, how did you come up with your songs?
So there's always, I always say there's always an inspiration. The question is sometimes it comes in inspiration from like a chord progression that I'm playing piano, and I'll come up with like a tune or a chord progression on the piano that inspires me to write a song on top of it. Sometimes it
Yeah.
comes in the words I'm reading in davening or I'm reading in Tehillim. Um, that's
Hold on. Did you ever say during davening? I like the words of the davening. I will turn it into a song.
Yes, that happens
Oh,
all the time. Yeah, Hakol Yeducha that I just put out with Yosef Kugler came from that, came from davening. Um,
I want to say Yosef Kugler is one of the best.
Sorry, is that a question?
No,
Yes, he's definitely
he,
incredible.
yeah, he is so
Very,
nice.
very.
I did the interview with him,
I didn't
and
know that. Oh wow, I
yeah,
didn't know you did an interview with him. Wow, that's very
yeah.
nice.
Now I need to find someone to edit out the background, but yeah. Um, we going. Do you do you have any funny stories about traveling to a show or a wedding? Or you want to skip that?
Nothing's coming to the top of my head.
Okay, we're going to skip. What words? Uh, Last question, then I have a couple of things to say before we end. What words of inspiration do you have for the world?
That would have been something I would have liked to prepare, but I'll try to think of something. Um, the first thing I'll say, I'm not in the place to decide to, just give inspiration to the world. There's plenty of greater people, whether in the music industry or not, but definitely the music industry is not a reason to make you somebody in the position to give inspiration to the world. If my music is able to inspire people, then that's great. Um, but it does not put me in the position to be able to just, shtel. That leave that up to the rabbis. But I guess the little I have, from the experience I have, is in the music industry. If somebody feels that they have something to offer, you know, go for it. Don't be shy. Obviously, everything should be done with the guidance of your Abayim, a Rav, somebody. But you know, everyone has something to offer somewhere, whether it's in music, whether it's in art, whether it's anywhere else. Go for it. If everyone would speak up and everyone would offer what they have, I'm sure we would have so much more. We have a lot, but I'm sure there's so much talent that's just hidden. And
Yeah,
if everyone would, bring their talent to the table, we would have a lot. And we do have a lot, but we would have even more.
yeah. Um, I want to say a couple of stuff before we end. I would like to thank Yechiel Giniger for coming on and being interviewed. I would also like to thank my video edit guy who is incredible. He helps me. I couldn't do any interviews for a very long time. He was he came, he helped me. I started interviewing again, and he is incredible.
That's amazing. I also want to thank you for having me on the show. I'm very honored to be here.
You're, wel- you're welcome. Have a rest of good night.
Thank you very much. You the same.